Her mind was in turmoil when she recalled her mother's advice from childhood, whenever you're in trouble, pray to God for help. Instantly, she fell to her knees, tears streaming as she repeatedly whispered, God, please help me. Hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Esther, and I'm thrilled you joined me today. In this video, I'll be delving into a true life story that is genuinely terrifying. So, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ready to get started? Now, let's jump right into my new story for today. Anika, a beautiful 28-year-old woman, had recently resigned from her banking position, eager to begin a new chapter by studying abroad. She scheduled her journey for the 25th of August, purchasing a flight ticket with 2 layovers. On the day of her travel, Anika boarded her initial flight from her home country and reached the connecting airport 3 hours before her subsequent flight. In the waiting area, she found a seat beside Tony, a handsome man in his 30s. He was quite charming and seemed to be headed to the same destination, sparking an instant connection between them. They chatted about everything from their travels to their aspirations, and it felt like fate had connected them to each other. As their boarding time approached, the announcement sent them hurrying to the security checks. Tony, burdened with 4 pieces of hand luggage, asked Anika for assistance with one. She agreed instantly, eager to help her new acquaintance. There were 2 lines heading to the security check. While Anika joined the first queue, Tony, who seemed engaged in a phone conversation, chose the second line. This decision surprised Anika. At the security checkpoint, she placed both her hand luggage and Tony's bag on the conveyor belt and waited to be cleared. Suddenly, the scanner began to beep, flashing a red light. A female security personnel pulled her aside for further search and found an illegal substance concealed in the bag Tony had given her. Anika protested, her voice trembling with fear and disbelief, asserting that the bag wasn't hers. In a panic, she pointed out Tony, who was then extracted from the other line by airport security. To her dismay, he denied knowing her or giving her any bag. His outright denial left Anika defenseless and isolated. Anika's world dissolved into a horrifying kaleidoscope of flashing lights and judgmental glances. She was unable to prove that he had given her the bag. So, Tony was allowed to proceed to the boarding gate. She screamed and cried, professing her innocence, but all her pleas fell on deaf ears. She was terrified, aware that the consequences were severe in this country, where possessing such an illegal substance could lead to life imprisonment. Tears streamed down Anika's cheeks as she was led away to a holding cell. As she sat in the detention room, her thoughts rapidly replayed every interaction she had with Tony. How could she have been so trusting? How could she have been so naive? Her mind was in turmoil when she recalled her mother's advice from childhood, whenever you're in trouble, pray to God for help. Instantly, she fell to her knees, tears streaming as she repeatedly whispered, God, please help me. Just as despair seemed to overwhelm her, help came from an unexpected source. An elderly woman, Mrs. Aduk, was traveling to the same country as Anika to visit her daughter, who had recently welcomed her first child. Seated behind Anika and Tony in the waiting area, Mrs. Aduk had noticed Anika's warm interactions with Tony, including the moment he passed his bag to her. Moved by compassion, Mrs. Aduk approached airport security and explained what she had observed, hoping to aid Anika. Her statement led to a review of the surveillance footage, which confirmed her observations by showing Tony handing his bag to Anika. With this new evidence, the authorities reassessed the situation, prompting them to instruct the airline pilot to delay the flight's departure. Tony was subsequently arrested and removed from the plane. Faced with undeniable video evidence, he confessed to his crimes, hoping for a lesser sentence. He was handcuffed and taken into police custody to await trial and sentencing. Anika was released, feeling immense relief but deeply shaken. The ordeal had frightened her, yet it also tested and ultimately strengthened her resilience. She expressed profound gratitude to Mrs. Aduk for speaking up and saving her from potential imprisonment. Anika then boarded her flight, now far more vigilant than before. She ultimately arrived at her destination and, within a few days, started her studies. The ordeal irrevocably changed Anika, making her more resolute in pursuing her dreams, though now with an added measure of caution. Anika's story is a reminder that the world is not always sunshine and rainbows. Bad things can happen to innocent people. So, guys, here are some tips to help you avoid similar traps. Always pack your bags yourself and consider using a lock to prevent unauthorized access. Keep a close watch on your bags to avoid the potential introduction of prohibited items into your luggage. Be alert and maintain personal boundaries, particularly when traveling alone. Be cautious with new acquaintances at the airport and avoid sharing too much personal information with them. Exercise caution when performing acts of kindness for someone at the airport. And most importantly, avoid handling any kind of luggage that doesn't belong to you. Leverage the surveillance cameras to your advantage. Be aware of the cameras that can corroborate your version of events. Keep records, take photographs, and gather proof when necessary. This could be very crucial to proving your innocence if anything goes wrong. Remember, Anika's lack of evidence nearly sent her to prison. If you observe any suspicious activity at the airport, it is safer to report it than to ignore it. Finally, always respect the laws of the country you are traveling to, especially the laws related to prohibited items. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below to let me know what you think. I have many more stories to share. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of my videos. My channel is called Stories of Our Lives by Esta. See you in my next video.